A database is a program that manages information efficiently. One of the big purposes of a database is to make sure that we can search for commonalities quickly. In the old days, a database was a phone book. You looked up a person's phone number when everyone had landlines by looking up a last name and then a first name. And if there were several people with that same name, you would go to the street number. So a phone number found in a phone book, the phone book was an example of a database. At SLU, in the old days, we used to have a file cabinet, and one drawer for freshmen, one drawer for sophomores, one drawer for juniors, one drawer for seniors. And each drawer had 250 folders, and each folder was for a particular student. Now, here's the real advantage of a database. In the old days, if I asked the secretary, hey, would you please go through all of our records to find any student whose dad went to SLU, who lives in zip code 63109 or 63139, and whose parents' combined income is less than $100,000, that secretary is going to have to go through 1,000 records with 3 or 4 different search criteria. That's going to take a long time, maybe a day or 2 full days. You can do that with a database in seconds. So a database manages information efficiently, and it searches for commonalities easily. This is sort of what a database looks like. This is an example of my baseball camp database. Up at the top in row 1, okay, right up here, and I'm going to make them bold for you. These are my fields. Those are just fields, field headings. The data below, all this is data, okay? And I want you to understand in a database, what happens is you fill the database with all the information. So in the old days, I'd have 400 kids at camp in the summertime, and I'd have a database with 400 names in here. After I put the names in here, I would sort the database. Now think about this for a second. What's the best way to sort this? Alphabetical order? Nope. You sort this database, okay, by session. So what I mean by session is I want to find out all the kids who are in session 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what I first do is sort it by session. The second sort I would do is I would sort it by age. The third thing I would do, I would sort it by last name, and the fourth sort I would use is first name. And after I sorted it by that, you can imagine I'd have all the Camp 1 guys or Session 1 guys, then Session 2, then Session 3 and Session 4. And within each session, I would have all the 6-year-olds in alphabetical order, then the 7s, then the 8s, then the 9s, then the 10s, then the 11s, 12s, and 13s. It was a great way to sort the database. Now, if I had a parent calling me, ask me, hey, do you have a way I can get a ride for my kid? He's 9 years old and he's going to go to session 2. I would just ask her, I'd say, hey, what's the zip code that you live in? 63139, and I would put the zip code and the particular session, and I would try to find a carpool for the parent. It was very easy to do that. Now, just so you know, when you look at this, 1 unit of data, okay, 1 unit of data is a field. Boy, this is, I don't know how I did this. I must have really messed that up. Yeah. 1 unit of data, like Smith or St. Louis or 12, 1 unit of data is a field. A collection of related fields, in other words, a collection of related fields, that's, you can look at this horizontally, that's a record. And a collection of related records is a file. So a field is one unit of data, a record is a collection of related fields, and a file is a collection of related records. So those are terms that are sort of important for a database. And when you're first working on a database, what you do is, before you do anything into the computer, you identify all your fields that you're going to use for your particular project. Sometimes you start out with a whole lot more fields than you need, and then you realize you don't need them all, so you cut down and only use the fields that you need. And then what you do is you enter them into the computer, you set up the structure of your database, and after you enter those fields in and set up the structure of your database, you actually enter your data. After you enter your data, you're constantly maintaining your data. You're adding more names to it, or maybe you're changing phone numbers or what have you. You're maintaining your data. And then after you do that, you sort your data. And after you sort your data, you can query the database. You can ask questions of the database. You can find searches in the database. So anyway, I hope this little video helps you with coming away with a basic understanding of a database, a program that allows you to manage information efficiently, and you can search for commonalities very quickly.